to view mining as a long-term strategy in order to build up wealth. So let's have a look at the 3 different scenarios of how you can become a millionaire from GPU mining. I have built this calculator inside of Google Sheets. I just need this coin to go to $2 in value in order for me to have made 1 million mining for just 3 days. Warning, there are people pretending to be me in the comments. This is what a comment from me looks like. Notice that the name is spelled perfectly, and notice the border around the name. That's how you know it's from me. You can also click on my name to make sure you actually go to my channel to double check. And this is what a comment from an imposter will look like. It has weird characters in the name or comment, and it's usually going to ask you to add them on WhatsApp or Telegram. I don't have WhatsApp or Telegram, and I would never ask you to add me on there. All right, so please be careful, use your common sense, and now let's get back to the video. Hey, how's it going, GPU heads? Thanks for clicking on my video. Seb Hesler here. And guys, let's be real, we're all into crypto mining because we want to make money, right? And so that got me thinking, what would it actually take to become a millionaire from crypto mining? So I did the math, and this is going to be another spreadsheet video that I know you guys love. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at 3 different scenarios for how you can become a millionaire from crypto mining in this video. And spoiler alert, none of them involve cashing out the coins that you've mined every day, every week, or even every month. And of course, it goes without saying that nothing in this video is financial advice. All right, guys, before we get into these 3 scenarios of how to become a millionaire from GPU mining, I want to talk a little bit about the 2 main approaches to GPU mining that you can have. And those are that you can either view it as a short-term way of generating passive income, or you can view it as a long-term way of building wealth. And using GPU mining as a way to generate passive income is probably the one that's going to be a lot less likely to make you a millionaire from it. And basically what that is when you sell everything you mine and cash it in immediately. As soon as you get a payout from what you're mining, you are cashing it in for dollars or euros or whatever, right? And while that is a good way of making sure that you never lose any money because you are selling everything you mine right there and then, right? It is also a very good way of making sure that you will also never gain any money on the coins that you mine, because you're selling them right then and there. They can never go up in value from there. And honestly, I really don't think that that is a good, long-term mining strategy. I think it's a very short-sighted way of just wanting to generate a bit of money here and now. And as soon as, mining profitability goes down because, it most likely can't stay this high forever, then you're just going to be making a few cents every day, and you're gonna quit because it doesn't seem worth it. But if instead you just save all of the coins you are mining then and selling them later when the coin prices are much higher, you're gonna be making a lot more profit. And I actually have a whole video on that concept because it is very fascinating. So you can watch that video by clicking on the card up there. I'll leave a link for it in the description as well. But now let's move on to the second approach. Now the second approach, which in my opinion is the better one, is to view mining as a long-term strategy in order to build up wealth. And you do this by setting a goal for yourself. So for example, $1 million, right? And then you just mine and hold all of the coins that you mine. And you just wait until both the amount of coins as well as the price for those coins that you've mined reach that number. So for example, $1 million. And then you cash out everything at once you're at your goal, right? And now, of course, this requires you to have faith that crypto prices for those coins that you're mining will go up in the long term, which of course never be guaranteed, right? And also I want to add that of course you don't have to do either or of these 2 approaches. You could do a little bit of a hybrid approach where you save maybe 75% of all of the coins you mined and you cash out 25% just to cover electricity costs, as well as to have a little bit of spending money on the side. So let's have a look at the 3 different scenarios of how you can become a millionaire from GPU mining. And the way we're gonna do that is I have built this calculator inside of Google Sheets, and what I'll do is I'll leave a link to this Google Sheet in the description of this video. And what you can do is you can open it up and then you can make a copy of it, and you'll be able to plug your own numbers in here to find your own answers, right? But I figured let's start with this first one, which is a historical Ethereum mining profit calculator. And the way this mining calculator works is around the scenario of what if you mined all the way up to Ethereum hit its all-time high in terms of price, which I believe was the 8th or 9th of November in 2021 when it hit $4,865. So what if you mined all the way up until that point and sold all of it on that day for its all-time high? And what I have done is I have actually downloaded the data of exactly how much Ethereum you would mine, you know, depending on your hash rate for each and every single day. So this isn't like an average of how much Ethereum you're kind of usually mining. It is the exact amount you would be mining every day. So as we can see here, if we go all the way up to the beginning of my data here, which is the 8th of August 2015, if you just mined with 1 gigahash for 1 day, you'd be making 290 Ethereum that day. Of course, we know that that is absurdly high now. And if we look at how much you'd be mining with, you know, 1 gigahash now, 1 gigahash would make you around 0.015 Ethereum per day. And so, as I said, this calculator fetches the data from this sheet here. And so let's plug some numbers in and we can see how it works. So let's say you had 100 megahash on Ethereum and you were mining for 20 days leading up to Ethereum's all-time high. So the 20 days leading up to the 9th of November, if that's when it was. I can't remember now off the top of my head. But you know, that calculator is correct, so don't worry. And that basically means that you would be making $184.89 leading up to that day if you saved everything you mined for those 20 days and then sold it as Ethereum hit $4,865. So this is also including the power cost, which you can fill in here. And basically the way it works is I filled in the power draw of RX 580s, which I believe is it's definitely not the most efficient Ethereum mining GPU by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a GPU that has been mined on for many, many years. And I believe it's a good representation, a good historical representation of kind of how much electricity you need to burn to mine Ethereum, you know, for these many years leading up to its all-time high now in November 2021. So this is with electricity costs already taken out of it. And if you want to, you know, say that you have cheaper electricity or, you know, that your cars are more efficient, you can adjust that here. And of course, you can also adjust the price at which you would sell it. But it all is just like leading up to that specific day. So the amount that you mine per day is based on that period. So going backwards from the 8th or 9th of November, I can't remember. But let's have a look at, you know, some higher numbers here, right? So let's say instead of 100 megahash, you have 2 gigahash, which, you know, it's a, you know, fairly big farm, but not, you know, the kind of size farm that you need to rent out a whole warehouse or anything. You could definitely run 2 gigahash at home, right? And let's say instead of 20 days, you mined for a full year, so 365 days. So from the 8th of November 2020 to the 8th of November 2021, and then you sold all of it on the 8th or 9th of November, you would have made $157,275.27, and that is with electricity costs taken out of it. So that is your whole profit there. And as you can see, that is from just 1 year of mining, but saving everything as you went. So, you know, let's keep going. Let's double this, right? So 2 years. 365 times 2. And there you can see it more than doubled because you were mining more Ethereum during the 2019 than you were in 2020, 2021, right? So we can see here, we're up at 472,000 now. So let's keep going. Let's call it 3 years, right? So this is 3 years of mining and holding every coin that you mine with 2 gigahash, and then finally selling it once Ethereum hit $4,865. And bam, you are now at 800,000. And that is, again, with electricity price already taken out. So this is your whole profit. Let's see, where do we hit $1 million? Let's do 3.5 years. Getting really close now at $967,000. So where are we? We're at 1,277 days, or 3.5 years. So let's say 4 years. Boom, and we are now at 1.2 million. So basically this means if you started mining in 2017 in November, you would have made $1 million if you mined with 2 gigahash and you saved everything you mined up until Ethereum's recent all-time high of $4,865. But let's change these numbers up a bit, shall we? Let's say that we mined with 4 gigahash instead of 2, right? We can see that then we would probably only have to mine for, not 4 years, obviously. Let's see, 2.5 years. Yeah, there we are, still over $1 million if you had 4 gigahash. Now, of course, 4 gigahash is quite a big farm, especially going backwards in time like this. But this is just to show you that, this is possible. You can mine $1 million in a fairly short amount of time, just 2.5 years, if you have a decent sized farm. And this was when Ethereum was already a very established coin, well, a pretty established coin, at least in my opinion. But yeah, as I said, please download this spreadsheet and have a play with this calculator, and have a look at kind of different scenarios where you would hit $1 million. And guys, just a little bit of a shameless plug here. As you can imagine, building a historical spreadsheet calculator like this takes a long time and a lot of figuring things out with math. So I just wanted to say, I do have memberships on the channel now. If you do want to support what I do here, don't worry if you don't want to do it. It won't change anything. But if you do, just know that I'm really grateful, and it really does make a difference for how much effort I can put into these videos, as well as time. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much if you do choose to do that. And yeah, back to the calculators and how to become a millionaire from crypto mining. Now, while using this first calculator is a great exercise in order to wrap our heads around the concept of, mining for the long term and then selling once the coin price hits a, amount that we're happy with, and selling it all at once, it doesn't really help us, going forward, because Ethereum mining is supposed to come to an end this year. So we're gonna have to look at mining other coins, right? So that is why I made another 2 calculators for us to have a look at next. So I also made these 2 calculators, which, rather than looking historically, it works with future projections. And I made them for both Ravencoin and Flux. And that is, well, the reason I didn't make one for Ethereum is because, as you know, Ethereum mining is going into proof of stake, which means it won't be mineable anymore. So I figured it's better for us to look at coins that we actually can mine in the long term. And the way these work is you fill in your desired hash rate, you fill in for how long you want to mine, and you also fill in the price at which you're comfortable selling the coins for. And what it will tell you is the total profit that you will make. And these are based off of today's coin yields for these 2 coins, right? So for Ravencoin and Flux, it's based on how much coin of those 2 that you make per day currently. And as we both know, the amount of coin yield you make fluctuates every day, even every hour. So if you're watching this in the future, it won't be, exact for you. But what you can do is you can very easily go in here and you can fill in the amount of Ravencoin that you mine currently per day per gigahash. So the current, you know, profitability yield or whatever you might want to call it, which currently is 800 Raven per gigahash per day for Ravencoin and 18.5 Flux per 1,000 solutions per day. So let's fill in some numbers and see what we get. And let's start with Ravencoin. So let's say you have 1 gigahash of hash rate on Ravencoin, so 1,000 megahash. And let's say you want to mine for 365 days and you want to sell when Ravencoin hits $1, or if Ravencoin hits $1, or however you want to put it. You can see that mining with 1 gigahash for a full year, if Ravencoin hits $1, based on, you know, today's current mining yield for Ravencoin, you would end up with $287,000 almost. And this is of course also with the cost of electricity taken out of it already. So it is your profit after power cost. And the power cost, again, I've filled in here is, you know, per gigahash of hash rate per day. And I've currently put that at $14, which is based off a 1660 Super, which by, you know, it's not the most efficient card on Ravencoin at all. So I wanted to get sort of like a good baseline for a not so efficient card so that we can get more realistic numbers here. And basically, if you have cheaper electricity or you're using more efficient cards, of course you can go in and you can change this amount here. But let's have a look at some more hypothetical numbers here, right? So let's say you're mining for 2 days, for 2 years instead. So 365 times 2. And we can see we're at $573,000, almost $574,000 now. So let's say we have a little bit more hash rate. Maybe we have, well, of course, if we say 2 gigahash, boom, we're over $1 million now by quite a lot. So let's say we have 2 gigahash. How long do we need to mine for if we sell at $1? And I guess that would be somewhere around maybe 650 days. Yeah, basically 650 days. So a little bit less than 2 years with 2 gigahash. If or when Ravencoin hits $1 price, you will have made $1 million. Now, of course, if Ravencoin were to go crazy and hit $10, you would only need to mine for like, 65 days with 2 gigahash, which is just over 2 months, which is crazy. And obviously, Ravencoin hitting $10 is, you know, well, it's not impossible by any means, but it's of course also, you know, it's well, let's just say we would really hope that would happen. Let's put it that way, right? But if it does, you know, you don't need a crazy high hash rate like 2 gigahash. You can, let's say 200 instead, megahash, and then of course again mine for a little bit under 2 years with just 200 megahash, and you're a millionaire from mining Ravencoin. And now let's have a look at Flux as well. You know, same situation with power cost. It's also based on 6060 Supers, which aren't very efficient on Flux by any stretch of the imagination. And of course, based on 10 cents per kilowatt hour with that efficiency. So let's say you want to mine for a full year, 365 days, right? And let's say you have 200 solutions per second. That's $15,000. Now let's say 2 years, right? 730 days. And you have 2,000 solutions per second, or 2 kilosouls per second. Now we're getting somewhere, $300,000. Not too shabby. Let's call it 5,000 kilo solution, or 5 kilo solutions per second. Getting really close to $1 million here at $785, almost $786,000. So instead, let's dial our hash rate down a little bit. Let's say we have 3,500 solutions per second, but let's say we want to do this for, I don't know, 365 times 3 years. Okay, now we're getting close again. And let's do a little bit more. 365 days times 3.5 years. Basically there, 3.7 years, and we're millionaires. So all this to show you that, like, you know, you mine and you hold onto it long term, and that is when you become a millionaire basically. Well, hopefully, not financial advice by any sorts of the imagination, of course. But what I also realized here is we completely disregarded the sell price. So let's say, you know, what I put here is $12, which, you know, is 4 times what Flux's all-time high is now, roughly, right? But let's say it can hit, I don't know, $50, $50 for one Flux. You wouldn't need to have such a crazy hash rate anymore. You would only need about 1 kilo solution for, let's see, 3 years. Yeah, there you go. 1 kilo solution for 3 years straight, mining and holding everything, and you're a millionaire if Flux hits $50. So I hope this helps visualize the relationship of mining and holding, waiting for the price of those coins to rise, and then once you hit your goal, you cash in all at once, and you have hit your goal of becoming a millionaire basically. This is of course a somewhat speculative play, because there is a chance that these coins, which, you know, they are smaller market cap altcoins, could just crash and burn and go down to zero, and you will have lost everything you mined, right? And what you could do to minimize that risk is, well, at least reduce it to a certain extent, is as soon as you mine, you know, those altcoins, you could swap them into a higher market cap coin like Bitcoin or Ethereum, or a few of them, right? A little bit of Monero, a little bit of Ethereum, a little bit of Bitcoin, whatever. And that is probably, you know, again, we can't tell the future, we don't have a crystal ball, but you will be a little bit safer in knowing that those very much more established coins probably won't completely crash and burn and go to zero, which, you know, is a little bit more likely with coins like Ravencoin and Flux. Now, do I think that would happen with Ravencoin or Flux? No. But then again, I have a lot of faith in the crypto space, and maybe you don't have as much faith in the crypto space long term as I do. And, you know, swapping them to a different coin that is more established could be a way of reducing that risk. But of course, in doing so, you are also reducing your chance of your holdings, you know, going 100 times up in value or 1,000 times up in value. Because let's face it, the price of Bitcoin probably not gonna go up 1,000 times in value from where it is now. You know, it's not gonna go to $400 million per Bitcoin or whatever that math would work out to. But, you know, Ravencoin going up 1,000 times to, you know, what would that be? $10 or $100? Yeah, that's reasonable. Like, that is not a crazy thought that, you know, could happen. So, you know, you have to weigh out the risk you're willing to take there, basically. The third and last scenario is what we call speculative mining, and is the one that by far requires the most luck and comes with the highest risk of everything you've mined just going down to zero and being worth nothing, right? And what spec mining is that you basically jump on a coin when it's absolutely brand new and start mining it. And this can sometimes be before the coin is even listed on any exchanges, so that you couldn't even cash it out even if you wanted to, right? And the reason we would do this is that when a coin is brand new like that, like it's just been released, not a lot of people will be mining it, which means that you can make a lot of that coin in a very short amount of time with a relatively low hash rate. And as an example of this, I made a video a few months back now where, mostly for fun, I spec mined a coin that was then called Ravencoin Lite for just 3 days, and I was able to mine like 500,000 of that coin in, you know, just those 72 hours. And basically that means that I just need this coin Ravencoin Lite, which is now called Avian, to go to $2 in value in order for me to have made $1 million mining for just 3 days. But of course, what is a lot more likely is that this coin will never even get to 1/10 of a cent in value. But that is the nature of spec mining, right? You take a massive chance in that, you know, the coin might go up 10, 100, 1,000 times in value. But of course, in 99.9% of the times, it just won't. They will probably just die and be absolutely worthless. But you know, there are some people that mined Ethereum in the first few weeks, and if they were clever, they would have held on to that, and they would now be multi-millionaires, you know. So it can happen, and if you're lucky enough, it might. Now, if you found this video helpful, then please give it one of these. And if you really liked it, you can now join the channel to help support what I do here. It really does make a big difference, and it means a lot to me. But what you gotta do now is you gotta click on that next video on the screen, because this video is over. You can also click the picture on my face to subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. But yeah, go click on that next video and I'll see you there. Goodbye. Goodbye, bye bye.